Well, we're pretty much at the halfway point of the season for your Red Deer Rebels, so why not have the voice of the Rebels, Cam Moon, in to chat about it. Mooner, I think it's safe to say it's a bit of a surprise and a pleasant one to see the Rebels at the top of the Central Division standings.
Yeah, I think it has been. It's a three-way tie right now for the top spot. But if you would have told me at the end of August, when training camp started, that at the Christmas break the team would be tied for first place and would have 20 wins at this point, I most certainly would have taken it. And not that we didn't think the Rebels would be a good team this year. Yes, we definitely thought they'd be improved over last season. But it was just the question of where would the scoring come from. And as it turns out, a bunch of different places. And it's really helped that Brandon Hagel's had just an amazing start, 51 points to this point. Has signed a contract with the Chicago Blackhawks in the first half of the season. I mean, it's been a great start for him. And I think he's helped make other players better. He's helped other players reach goals. And that's been a huge part of it. Defense has been good. Alexander Alexiev, the Washington Capital draft pick, of course, he's been lights out. That's not surprising to anybody. But the whole defense, they've played well. Goaltending's been very good with Ethan Anders and Byron Fancy. So, but we expected that for sure. It's been really good. It's going to be a tough second half. I absolutely love this Central Division this year. I know last year was a down year for the Central. This year, everybody's got a little bit better. And as a result, it makes it so competitive. Rebels have had their troubles against the Medicine Tigers, but they've done really well against Calgary. They've done really well against Kootenay. Edmonton, it's been a bit of them, bit of Rebels. So every game's a big deal, and then we'll see how the whole thing shakes out.
You talked about the scoring. Brandon Hagel leading it, but he's joined by those two other 20-year-old forwards, and that line as a whole has really helped lead this team so far. Yeah,
it really has. Jeff DeWitt's come in as a guy that was a free agent. Rebels picked him up for free. But, of course, he was a Rebels draft pick in 2013, first-round pick. This is his fifth year in the league. He's been really good. He's got 19 goals to this point. I think Brandon Hagel's helped a lot with that, but Jeff's done a great job of going to the front of the net, making things happen. Reese Johnson, we knew that he would be a heart and soul guy. He wears the C on his jersey for a reason because he is the leader of this club, but he's been really good offensively too, and that's great. When you've had your 20-year-olds driving the bus the way they have, that's outstanding. Then the Rebels make a deal to bring in a couple of 19-year-old forwards, and until that deal didn't have any. Cam Hosinger, Brett Davis, they come in. Those guys have helped give them a bit more depth up front, which I think down the stretch, certainly in the second half of the season, is going to be absolutely huge for them to stay at the top or near the top of the Central Division. So that deal's going to pay dividends, already has, and it's going to make a great second half.
You mentioned it too, the guys between the pipes. We haven't seen a lot of Byron Fancy. I'm guessing we will down the stretch as things start to get busy. But Ethan Anders, I mean, what can you say about the stability he gives his team in goal?
Well, he's picked up where he left off. Last year was a great rookie season for him. He got to play in the playoffs, picked up a win in the playoffs. That's huge. And then this year just hit the ground running right off the get-go, which is outstanding. Not surprising either. And he's on the Central Scouting Service player to watch list. I know NHL scouts are keeping their eye on him, so he's got the possibility of being drafted in the NFL and the NHL draft come summertime. So those are all really good things. Byron Fancy, again, he hasn't played a ton, but he's played well. And I thought his best game was the one against Moose Jaw. Rebels lost to game 3-2. It should have been a lot worse than that. And Fancy had an outstanding night. So, I think he'll play more in the second half. There's going to be some long road trips coming up in the second half when Canada Winter Games come in and take over the city. Rebels will go out to the U.S. They'll come home for one game. Then they'll head out to Saskatchewan. So a lot of hockey to be played in a short amount of time.
And on defense, not a surprise to see Alexander Alexiev among the very elite in the Western Hockey League. He'll, of course, be at World Juniors with Team Russia. But that group, we talked preseason how we expected that group to be a strength for this club. And overall, it really has.
It really has. And Alexiev, the leader of that group, he's really not very far off from being an NHL defenseman. And I think we'll see that at some point sooner than later. I know next year, I'm guessing he'll start in the American Hockey League, but who's to say? I mean, if he has a good training camp, maybe he starts with the Washington Capitals, but he's really close. and I look forward to watching him at the World Juniors. So when you got him out there and you know he's going to play a lot, being a defenseman and a guy that can handle a lot of minutes, that helps a bunch. But then you've got guys like Jacob Haraff. This is his third year, and Carson Sass his third year. Ethan Sakowicz, it's his third year. So Dawson Bartow's his third year. So you've got a lot of experience back there. And then the young guys continue to come along. Chase Leslie's a 16-year-old that has played well. Ryan Gottfried didn't play a lot early. He's been really good the last month and has shown that as a 17-year-old, he can definitely make the step to the WHL. Hunter Donahoe's in his second year. But when he plays, I mean, this guy can add something to the mix. So it's good. Those are all really positive things. And you're going to need that defense to be good for you. We've seen it in the playoffs. Once you get to WHL playoffs, you need a real strong defense, and you're probably going to need more than one or two of them. So, yeah, things happen along the way. So, yeah, not a surprise that the D has been pretty good, but also good to see.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be some opportunities come up because, as we mentioned, Alexia is going to be missing for a couple of weeks. And knock on wood, Rebels have been pretty healthy so far this season. But it looks like the depth is there in case something does come up that they've got guys that can step in.
Hopefully we won't ever find that out. But yes, knock on wood. It has been pretty good. Yeah. That you know how it goes. Some years it doesn't, and some years it does.
We've seen it here before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it can happen. The grind of what is now a 68-game schedule and the travel and all that sort of thing. That sure you're going to at some point. You're going to see the depths of your team. You're going to delve into it and see how good it really is at some point. Everybody deals with it.
So a couple of games coming up during the holiday break. You've got Vancouver and Edmonton on the docket. And then when you flip to January, all of a sudden the schedule gets tougher. The trade deadline comes. Going to be very interesting to start the new year.
Yeah, the trade deadline will be January 10th. Rebels are actually going to be on the road when that happens in Saskatchewan. So it's going to be a lot of hockey. It's going to be a lot of travel. Rebels in the Central Division have played the least amount of games. So that means you got to make them up here in the second half. So it's going to be a busy time for the team. They're going to put a lot of things to the test. And they've still got 5 games against the Lethbridge Hurricanes. Those are going to be big games. They've only played them once. They lost in overtime in what was an extremely exciting game. I hope the rest of them are half as good as that game was. Yeah. So, yeah, those are going to be big games. Looking forward to it.
Yep, going to be a great stretch drive for your Red Deer Rebels starting during the holiday break. Mooner, as always, we'll have every game on 106.7 The Drive, and it's going to be fun. It's, like we said off the top, a pleasant surprise to see the Rebels near the top, and they're going to be in the middle of a very heated, very exciting battle down the stretch.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cam, thanks for this as always.
All right, no problem.